friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin, and I am so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me, because today we will be doing my February wrap up. We'll be discussing all of the books that I read in February, the hits, the misses, and the in-betweens. So to keep this intro from being entirely too long, let us go ahead and get into our story graph statistics. So for the month of February, I finished 8 books. I attempted 10 books. I read 3,497 pages, and my average rating for the month was a 3.75. Not too bad, but also it just felt like a month of mid books to me, and we'll talk about that. So first off, I want to talk about my DNFs, and then as always we'll work our way up to the 5 stars. So the first DNF that I have is Wicked Ties by Shanora Williams. This is the second book in the Tethered trilogy. It's a dark romantic fantasy series written by a Black author, which is why I picked it up in the first place, because these are very much far and few in between. So I wanted to give it a shot, even though I knew that I am not a person who reads heavier, darker, grim stories. That's not my thing. And so I knew this was going to be a toss up. I read the first book and it was a 3.5 star. But the more I got into the second book, the more apparent it was that this is just not my thing. This series contains a lot of violence, a lot of stalking, guns, a lot of things that I am just either terrified of or just not wanting to read about. So I didn't want to read this book only to give it a low rating just because it's not, my thing. So I stopped, because in the first book I thought that the setup was really cool, the world was good, things weren't as heavy in the first book, and I was able to get through it. But we pick up in the second book, and so yeah, it wasn't for me. But I definitely want to recommend this series. I will be recommending it. I think that a lot of people will enjoy it. I just, personal preferences. Both of the books that I DNF'd in this month, I do think that they're really good books, and I will recommend them even though I did not finish them, just because the reasons are very similar. They just aren't my thing, but I can see the appeal. The writing was good, the story was good. It's just personal preferences. So I will recommend them if you got a problem with that and really don't care. So yeah, let us use that as a segue into our second and final DNF for the month of February, and that is Delicious Monsters by Liselle Sambury. This is a YA horror, and look, I'm scary. I am very much a scary girl. Like, I don't like to be scared. I don't watch scary movies. That's just not who I am. And I read this because Lex picked it out for me in that video where she chose books for me to read. She knew that I was scared, but she still wanted me to try it anyway, just to see, right? And I thought that this story was so important, and the things discussed in this was just amazing. But look, the horror was doing its job, and I couldn't do it. I was creeped out by the first thing that happened, and I was like, look, is it gonna get worse? Like, I need to know. She's like, girl, like, it's gonna get worse. This was nothing. And I'm like, oh no. And then by the time like the second thing happened, I was like, nope. I set the book down right after I read that scene because I was just so creeped out, and I couldn't pick it back up. I couldn't. But I really wish that I had been able to finish this, because like I said, this is such an important story about forgotten Black girls, and it did what it needed to do, and I think you should definitely try it. But the horror got me. It got me. Also, don't judge my hair. Like, I had blow dried it, and I was gonna straighten it, but then it started raining and storming. And if you know, you know, I'm not about to do that. So I'm waiting a couple days till the storm moves on out the way, and then I'll straighten it because I just don't want to waste my time. And I had it pulled up in like a little bun bun thing, but I don't care how loose it is. Ponytails, buns, updos are going to give me a headache, and that's very annoying. Very much annoying. So here we are. Oh well. Okay, moving into the 3 stars. I luckily did not have any ones or twos. Thank goodness, because I don't need that energy this early in the year. So my first 3 star that I want to talk about is The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert. And this is a romance where we follow Cherry, who eventually ends up in this fake engagement with a prince. And yeah, I know that it's very vague, but I go into so much detail talking about all of these books in the reading vlogs that I did this month. So if you want to learn more about the books, head on over there. I just don't really have a lot of the energy to repeat synopses today. It's taking a lot to even just film this much. So, yeah, I thought that this story had a lot of potential. I liked the chemistry between Cherry and Ruben, our prince. I just thought that it was missing something. What? I don't know. I mentioned in the vlog that it felt like this was doing a whole lot and also nothing at the same time. I don't know how both things could be true at the same time, but that's how I felt reading this. And I also am just struggling a little bit with Talia Hibbert because I've read 6 books from her, and half of that being the Brown Sisters, and the other half being other books. The other books outside of the Brown Sisters, this was the first one to get a 3 star. The other 2 got 2.5 stars. And I'm just like, what's happening? Because the Brown Sisters were 5 star books for me. So I just don't know what the disconnect is. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with me and Talia. So, yeah, I don't know, but there's some confusion. Obvious. Moving on, I want to talk about Take a Hike by Mimi Grace. This is the 3rd and final book in the Love Struck series, and this was my least favorite out of the group, and I knew that going in. I was going back and forth about whether I was even going to finish this series, but the completionist in me had to do it. And I I was right about my feelings about this book. I did not care anything about the outdoor store plotline situation. I cared nothing about that. I liked our couple in this. I liked their chemistry. I liked their banter. I just, like I said, I didn't care anything about the main storyline. And so that is why this was a 3 star. I still enjoy it. I still think other people will enjoy it if that's something that sounds interesting to you. It just wasn't, it's not my thing. Moving into our 3.5 stars, we have Don't Go Baking My Heart. This is by N.G. Peltier, and it is the 2nd book in the Island Bites series. And in this, we follow Reba and Devin, and I feel like this is going to be it's going to sound like a broken record by the time I end this video, because I'm going to keep saying the same things. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Reba and Devin. I thought that their spicy scenes gave what they needed to give. I just I don't know how to say this without sounding mean, or, but this book felt like it wanted our main characters to have these really deep issues, but the issues weren't that deep. If that makes any sense. Like, it was trying to be really emotional. Well, not even trying to be emotional. I think the way I said it was the best that I could think the best way that I can think of to explain that, because Reba's issues is that no one was really taking her serious in relationships, or when they got to the point to progress, they wanted her to, calm down and become a certain version of herself, which was not really her true self anyway. And then Devin's problem, he took everything too seriously. He didn't know how to have fun. He was just work, 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 work. And it felt like because of the amount of times that the author repeated these problems and how it was just stuck to everything in this book, it felt like they were trying to really make these issues big and a big part of the story when there wasn't enough weight to the issue, because why is Devin like always into work, always feeling like he has to take everything serious? Why is Reba, why does Reba feel like she chooses men who treat her this way, and she knows they're going to treat her this way, but she still tries anyway? Like, she didn't really dig into the meat of the issue. We just got the surface level issue. I feel like I rambled on too long about that, but yeah, that was my issue with this. I still think it was a fun time, and gave it a 3.5 star. Moving on. Let's talk about Frenemies with Benefits by Synithia Williams. This, I think, is actually the third book in the Peachtree Cove series, but it's the first full novel that I've read in this series. And I hope I said Peachtree Cove, because I have a bad habit of saying Grove instead of Cove. Anyway, we are following Tracy, who has reluctantly been a part of scandals her whole life, and we meet her at a place where she is divorcing her husband because he slept with her business partner and got her pregnant. So here she is in the face of another scandal while she's trying to build her business. She owns a bed and breakfast, and it is actually starting to like really pick up traffic because Peachtree Cove has just been named like America's best small town or something like that. And so people are flocking to the city and staying in her bed and breakfast, but she's having trouble focusing on that because she got all this stuff going on in her personal life. And we have Brian, who is her florist, but they also went to high school together. And he is there for Tracy. He also has had some very traumatic relationships himself, and they decided to strike up this friends with benefits type situation. And you know what happens with friends with benefits? They never just stay friends because somebody wants feelings or has feelings to go along with those benefits. So that is what happened. I really enjoy Brian and Tracy as a couple. I like their chemistry. I like how they were able to be there for each other. One thing that I really, really enjoyed about this book and this couple is that they handled problems like adults. Like, there was some drama, all caps, going on in this book. And I love drama, so I was eating it up. But I also enjoyed that this couple did not there wasn't just a ton of miscommunication. Like, they were handling this like adults. They were seeing it from the other person's point of view and realizing that sometimes you do get put in situations that are out of your control, and that if it were up to you, you wouldn't have anything to do with these situations at all. But sometimes that's not your choice. So yes, I thought that the emotional backgrounds that we got, the reasons why Brian and Tracy were the way that they were, all of it worked. I don't know. I don't know why I couldn't rate this one higher. There was some disconnect that I just can't quite put my finger on, but I think this author can give me a 5-star. And so I'm going to keep reading from this author in this series, and hopefully one of the next things that I pick up from her will be the real winner. Alrighty, moving into our last 3.5 star. That is Between Friends and Lovers by Shirlene Obuobi. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, not sure. This one was a bit of a disappointment for me. And if you watched this vlog that I read it, I think it was like the mood reading turned black romance vlog, I was hyped. That first 50%, I was like, yes, this is going to be a winner. I am loving this. Like, I'm excited. And immediately after that, I was let down. I just, the feelings weren't there anymore. I really loved Malcolm, and I hated the way that Joe treated Malcolm like she knew that he was waiting on her for her to get it together. And even though he was like, you don't have to treat him any type of way, like any person, like, don't do that. That's rude. And that pissed me off. I hated how much we had to learn about Ezra and his background story and his family. I don't care about Ezra. I'm actually really pissed off that he even is playing as big of a role in the story as he is, because he continues to put Joe in situations that are wrong, and she just won't open her eyes enough to see what's going on. And look, I just wanted to shake Joe and like, girl, get it together. Get it together. And yeah. So this ended up being a 3.5 star. It was just some of the nuances in this story that I did not like. Yeah. Yeah. But I still think that this story will have its audience. People will like it, will love it. I have seen nothing but good things about this, actually. And my rating isn't bad. I mean, a 3.5 star is not bad at all. So even with me, like, going on that little mini rant, I still thought that this was a really good story. The writing was good, and I do plan to read more from this author. So take that with a grain of salt. I am a little dramatic. I have heard, I don't know if there's any proof to that, but I've heard I could be dramatic. So do what you will with that information. So my only 4 star for the month is Witches Steeped in Gold by Shannon Smart. This is the first book of the duology with the same name. And I read this book because Lex picked it for me as well in that vlog. My main gripe with this book and why I couldn't fully give it a 5 stars is that it felt very long. I felt the weight of every page that I read, and even though the plot was plotting, the story was storying, it just felt so long. I could read 100 pages and it still didn't feel like I moved. It felt like I didn't make any progress. And so for that, I had to dock it down a little bit. I really enjoy the story. I thought that these two girls, Jasmine and Araya, being sort of like a mirror of, that sounded really country, mirror mirror of each other, and kind of being what the other one needs, was very interesting to see. I think that the world building and the lore ran deep with this, and I liked that. I do wish that we had gotten some more explanations and context behind some of the patois being used in this, because I felt like I didn't fully understand sometimes. And there were times where something was said and then directly after there was an explanation, but sometimes there was nothing. And I'm like, so how are we supposed to know what that means? How are we, my context clues are pretty good, but like, I would rather know for sure and not just make inferences about what I think it means. So yeah, that is what I felt about this book. So yeah, I'm glad that she made me read this, because I wouldn't have picked it up anytime soon. But I actually really enjoyed myself while reading it. Making progress. Almost done. This is also kind of a short wrap up, I think, for me. I don't know. Anyway, moving on to my only 4.5 star this month. And it is the last book that I read that Lex picked out for me, and that is Sing Me to Sleep by Gabi Burton. This is the first book in a duology of the same name as well. And I ate this up. Okay, this was so fast paced, so good. The cat and mouse of it all. Like, I really enjoyed this, and I'm going to keep recommending this to the people who read Heartless Hunter and really enjoyed it, because it gives that same vibe. And I think that Gabi should be getting her shine too, because her story is just as good, if not better, in some kind of ways. You know what I'm saying? you know, I rated Heartless Hunter 4.5 stars too. So, they're on the same level for me. And I really think that more people should be picking this up because it is so good. I loved reading about Saoirse being this siren. Like, she is the baddest for real. And she's taking care of her sister. And there was plot twist in here. And I love when I don't figure out the plot twist. Like, I feel very accomplished when I do figure them out, but it's just something about like shocking me that just gives me that same kind of satisfaction, I guess. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I had a great time with this. It was so fast paced and just a good time. And yeah, I definitely think more people should be reading this and picking it up. The duology is finished, and yes, all the things, all good things. And my final book, my only 5 star of 20, no, of February. And that is The First Family by Granger. Look, I'm about to say that Granger can do no wrong. I'm about to say it because the way this Drew Collins series has me in a chokehold, I look, I'm obsessed. And I always kind of like think because they're longer books, I'm like, okay, this is gonna take me a minute to get through. And I almost didn't read it because of that. But look, I flew through this book in maybe 48 hours, probably less than that, because once you start reading, you're just so hooked, you're so drawn in. The pages fly. They just fly. You don't feel any other pages. You finish and you're like, what? I need more. And that's exactly how I feel. The third book in this series is out. But look, I'm trying not to read it right now. And that is because when I finish it, I have nothing else to read. And we don't know when Granger is giving us the fourth book. I don't even know if she has started writing it yet. But look, I don't want to go that long without Drew Collins, without Maggie and Namir, who I just loved so much, without Quan. Like, I can't. I love them and I need to be with them. So I will be putting off this third book for as long as I can, just so I don't have to wait too long for that fourth book. But look, yeah, this is easily going down as one of my all-time favorite series, and I love it so much. I cannot say enough good things about this series and about this writing. Granger is like giving us this whole world that I just want to be a part of, and I'm so jealous that I'm stuck here in America right now with all this bullshit that's going on when I could be in Drew Collins. Yeah, yeah. So I absolutely love this. Recommend the series to everybody. It's on KU. Like, just go read it. And enough about me yapping and screaming about Drew Collins series, because I will do it all day. And so that wraps up this wrap up portion of the video. Let us go and finish up my February monthly reading journal spread situation. And I think that's all we have to do for this video. So once we finish that, I'll be back to close everything out.
Yeah.
Alrighty, friends, and that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, subscribing. Thank y'all for the love that y'all are showing to Lex on that video where she picks my books. I've been showing her, just the views in the comments, and it, of course, is making her nervous because she does not like being perceived. But I just think it's so cute. And thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Anything else that you do to support me and my channel, it is greatly appreciated. And I hope you have the best day that you possibly can. Remember to take care of yourself, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.